Whether you are a farmer, a blue-collar worker, or even have an office job, there's a good chance either your insurance covers massages or you've been to a masseuse before. But does it actually do anything? Massage, acupuncture, chiropractics, even Reiki, which is largely no touch? I had no idea. So this week I reached out to Megan, who's a registered massage therapist, to actually find out, does that do anything, or is it just a nice therapy session to make you feel good? So one of the things that I really wanted to dive into, because I've been so curious about it, because it's like, there are two facets of people online, or just in general, I find.
Okay.
With regards to specifically like massage therapy and chiropractics. There's the people who are like, it's voodoo and maybe it'll make you feel good. But then there's like the diehard people, which I think you and I might fall under, that like, this is actual therapy work. This helps people. This does more than just like, oh, I'm sitting in a hot tub and I feel good. Mm-hmm. Am I right in that?
Absolutely, yeah. I always joke, like, we do more than just the 25-cent back, neck, shoulders tour, right? Because some people think that's all, even chiropractic, that's all you can have done. It's just come in, get your back treated. It's like a little back rub kind of thing. But I've had many people come in, get a treatment from me, get off the table and comment that like, I've had massages, but I don't think I've ever had a massage, right? So not every therapist is created equally. If I can speak openly about it, like you now know, like we've had that professional interaction as well, right? But yeah, it does go a lot deeper than just like just a back rub. It's not just a feel good kind of thing, right? It is therapy. So
what, as a therapy though, what really is it doing for people?
So,
and I guess you can speak to certain instances, because I think some people would think more of like the athletic portion of it, that like you've overused a muscle, you need to rub it to make it feel better.
Right. And of course, like, I think some people think that you do have to have an injury in order to come in, or you do have to have insurance coverage in order to come in. And that's just not true. I mean, everybody has stress in their life, and stress is the number one source of like every disease, if we want to get into that. So coming in and just having that human connection, even experiencing positive touch. I mean, we're humans, like we do need that. But it does get into, obviously we're going to, you relax the muscles by, kind of stretching them and warming them up. And we do trigger point, or I do trigger point therapy anyway, where I really like to, I guess my style is to get into the muscles, really find the points that are causing the issues, do some very specific work to help relieve that, realign the fibers of the muscles so that they're able to move the way that they should be moving. So really like longitudinally, as opposed to kind of being all stuck together and bound together, and restricting the movement so that you're not able to utilize your muscles as well as you should be able to. And then I like to end on a relaxation note, because there is a lot of therapy that comes from that as well, right? Like, how often do we actually slow down? How often do we take a full hour for ourselves? And I also think it's magic that I get to spend an entire hour with somebody, hands-on. They're comfortable enough to lay there and maybe not say a word. Like, how often do you do that, right? To just be in silence with somebody and find that comfort. So yeah, there's a lot. There's definitely the physical aspect of it, but there are so many other factors that come into the therapy of massage therapy.
What causes the like muscle fiber? When I think of a muscle, I think of like the striated, just lines basically.
Absolutely.
What causes them to become misaligned or twisted or?
So it could be injury, it can be overuse. Oftentimes, if we're sitting, a lot of people are doing office jobs, they're sitting in front of a computer, your posture gets increasingly more like internally rotated throughout the day, and we're not using our muscles to their full capacity. So you're not going through the full range of motion that they're meant to. So you're only using certain fibers of the muscles, and so then inevitably they're going to get kind of overused, they get sticky, people are chronically dehydrated, and our bodies are 70% plus water, so our muscles need that as well. But yeah, you're totally right. Sometimes I say to people, do you eat meat? And if they say yes, I'm like, okay, like you've seen a steak, the lines, right? Like that's what our muscles are supposed to look like. But when they get overused, when we get dehydrated, when there is injury, when there's inflammation in there causing extra pressure, then they just kind of get all bunged up. We've all felt the knots, right? So
what is a knot?
So it's just those fibers kind of, it's technically, we call it an adhesion, but layman's terms, right? We call it a knot.
Oh, you can
know,
you can dive
you
right
know what
in.
I mean?
What do you?
Like,
Okay, what is an adhesion then?
So adhesion, the muscle fibers get adhered to each other, right? So it is that kind of, they get bulked up together, right? They should be. When we massage, we're basically trying to break them apart so that we can realign them, right? Because that's all part of our training too. Like, we learn about the muscles, we learn about origin, insertion points, the direction of the muscles, the direction that the fibers are supposed to be aligned. And so that's what we're trying to do, is to realign the fibers so that you are able to use them to their full capacity.
That's something that I was fascinated when I was on the table a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, I know there's deltoids and traps, and like I generally know the muscles in my back, and you can feel them. Like, I can move and I can stretch some of those. But there was some work that you did that I was like, oh, never really used that muscle. I didn't know that was there.
And you're like, oh, actually, I have been overusing it. I had no idea.
Yeah, and I think, are those like the posture muscles that you use or overuse or even maybe underuse doing certain things?
Well, I mean, I got, like, what areas are you talking about?
Right in the center of my back was like the most sensitive that I found.
And next to the spine. Yeah, so those are your erectors, right? So they're connected to ribs and spine, and they hold your torso erect. So you should be utilizing them all the time. But then it's interesting, often in the mid back, people have a lot of tension through there. And I find with women, I believe, people are wearing bras. It's like that little extra pressure. We forget that it's there, but your body realizes that it's there. And so naturally it kind of causes the ribs to shift, the spine to shift, and we kind of lean forward at that point. So then those muscles are always trying to work their hardest to get you back into that appropriate posture. Same as between the shoulder blades, like rhomboids, middle traps. It's the most human place to have tension and adhesions, because everything we do is activating through the pecs. And then we've got these little muscles that are like, hey, just come back to neutral, just, and they get overworked, and then, yeah.
Do people really get used to that, where they're like, okay, they've got a posture like this and they're constantly slouching, and then like, are their muscles then going to be stretched to a point where they're unfixable?
So we don't fix people, but it would take some work for sure. And that's another thing, is like, you come in, I do what I can for your muscles. I always say showing up is 50% of the job. Lay on the table, just breathe, let me help you release the tension, even releasing like that chronic pain, right? Because that can really play on your mental health as well. But if someone has a really internally rotated posture, then it means a lot of home care. And that's a bit of a frustration. A lot of people don't want to participate in their healing or, their growth and change and all of that kind of stuff. They would prefer to just come in for the quick fix. But that's why people come to see us, every few weeks or monthly or every 6 weeks, or they call last minute and it's like, I don't know what's going on. And it's like, well, you haven't been caring for your body, like I hear all the time, oh, I'm just getting older, it's age, that kind of thing. And I say, oh, no, we don't say that here. Like, the reality is that we abuse our bodies. We use them. We overuse certain muscles. We keep doing the same repetitive things. Even just like sitting too much is like abuse on the body, because it's like sitting's the new smoking. And then we're not doing enough good stuff. So whether that's exercise, stretching, having, manual therapies. So physiotherapy, chiropractic, massage, whatever, like, use all the tools in your toolbox, whatever works for your body, whatever it responds to. Like, I know you said you were like, go ahead, you can't hurt me. And that might work for your body, but a lot of people require a little bit more of a gentle, compassionate approach.
I can't even touch it. Like Nicole, it's even just like a little gentle rub, and she can't stand it. I'm like, you could like punch me and I would enjoy it, because I need, not in a masochistic way, but like in a way that like, okay, I have so much tension, or feel like I have so much tension. And that's what I had said going into our appointment. I was like, I am just getting old. I'm in my 30s now. My body doesn't bounce back like it used to. Yeah. But I've noticed over the last couple of weeks, I was working hard for like 3 months. I rebuilt the house, and then the garden work was just heavy lifting and pushing and pulling. And so I had just overused all those muscles, and now I've started to come back. But I had you said something important that I want to address. You said you don't fix people.
Correct.
And if you're realigning the muscles, is that not really what you're kind of doing? I know that language is very important, especially in what you do and with chiropractics. I remember my first chiropractor appointment, he said very specifically, we don't crack people's backs. We align people, or we make adjustments or whatever.
Correct, yeah.
And I was like, okay, sure. But
layman's terms.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And
it
so
makes a cracking noise.
and so with regards to like fixing, I guess nothing's technically broken, but being able to remediate, I think that would be a better term. You're remediating some either laziness, whether it's people just slouch all the time, or just some bad habits, I guess people have in what they do. Is that correct?
So it's funny you say remediate, because we talk about like remedial exercises, right? It's kind of like the home care that we give, which it's so interesting. In the beginning of my career, I was all about it. And then I realized you can tell the people that are actually going to do the exercises, that are really invested in their healing process and they want to participate in it. I guess we say we don't fix people because I feel like when you go that route, it's so easy to get into, like they call it like the God complex.
Yeah.
Like, look at everything I've done. And at the end of the day, for me, as a healthcare professional, like, it's never about me. Like, when you come in, it's about you. Like, I'm giving you my energy, my time, like physical and, all of the things, for that hour that you're there. So it's just tricky language to be like, I fixed you. No, I didn't.
You are healed.
Right? Like, it's
And I think it's a spectrum
Yeah,
too. So it's like you don't come in broken and you leave fixed. It's more, okay, the muscles were sore, and then you probably leave, they're still sore, but now they're worked out a little bit. You've broken down some of the cell walls to be able to help.
Yeah, I think it's more about just like offering that support, right? Because sometimes you can, stretch and apply heat and all your essential oils and whatever at home, but it's just not enough. And sometimes we do need somebody else to step in and help facilitate that healing. And so that's where we come in to say, okay, like, you know what, you get to relax, because, if you're trying to work on your own muscles, you're still activating them while trying to help them relax. And there's certain areas you maybe can't reach on your own. And so, yeah, that's when we come in to, it's just, we were always told, like, we don't fix. And whenever somebody says, like, I just need you to fix me, I say, no, that's not what we do. Like, you showed up, 50% of the work, get on the table. I'm going to see how much I can help and support your body today, give you some relief so that you can go out into the world feeling better, making those changes to better support your body so that maybe you don't get back into this same position, where it takes a little bit longer for you to kind of return to those issues, whether it's, discomfort, pain, however you want to refer to it. So,
well, it's therapy.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people now, you think therapy is more mental, but like that's physical therapy, or not actual PT, but it is therapy that you are doing to your muscles and to your body.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting though, because, people, once they're comfortable enough and they're face down, they'll tell you, I know a lot of things about a lot of people, and for some people, maybe I'm the only person that listens to them, right? So it's like, well, it's not therapy, and, it's not talk therapy. Obviously, we're not giving advice
you're not
and
a
all that kind of
psychotherapist,
stuff. But just to listen, right, is huge for people. And there's also that somato-emotional release. So we store our emotions in our bodies, in our joints, in our fascia. So when people it's really interesting, actually. Sometimes I'll be working on a certain area and they'll have a memory and they'll start to talk about it and they'll say, I don't even know why I was talking about it. And I'm back there thinking, I do. Like, you had it stored in this muscle and you're finally ready to start releasing that, right? So it's like they get to talk it out, feel the feelings while I'm releasing through the muscle too. So then maybe they get some sort of peace around whatever the experience was, right? So
that's so interesting.
Yeah,
how does that
so
then?
fascinating.
Because something that I am super not familiar with, I can talk about massage therapy. I've experienced massage therapy. Reiki is something that I know nothing about. I didn't even do research about it, which I probably should have, because I was going to ask questions. But massage therapy is physical touch.
Correct.
Reiki, as I understand it, is more energy work.
Yeah. So Reiki, like the word itself, it's a Japanese word meaning life force energy. So for me, I personally feel like whoever I'm working on whatever their belief system is, that's where this life force energy is coming from. So if you call it God, the universe, mother, whatever you call it, right? Like that's where this is coming from, because I believe that, you know, there's something bigger than all of us, even just being out in nature, right? Like I'm sure you feel it, right? Like, you know, the peace that you get from, we were just talking about going and sitting by the babbling brook, you know, and it's like, oh, okay, I can reconnect. I can be barefoot in the grass, that kind of thing, like connecting to that sort of energy. So Reiki being the life force energy, essentially once you're attuned to it, you have the ability to tune back in at any point and offer that up to this other person in whatever capacity they're able to receive it. So the experience can be different for everyone, even like as a practitioner or as, because sometimes I know I've seen people who have said, I didn't feel anything. I didn't, whatever. I'm like, well, did you feel relaxed at least? Like, did you feel any sort of peace? You know, sometimes that's how it shows up. Sometimes people feel tingles or shivers. Sometimes people see colors, but it just depends on, it really depends on the person, right? So it's a relaxing thing. It can definitely cause some physical releases as well, right? Like, it's just as simple as holding someone's hand. Sometimes, you know, it can make them cry and give them that release, right? So I think it can be so powerful.
I think people really discount that sort of thing. And it's something that, especially in like Western culture, we're really not attuned with anything spiritual or anything like energies like that. More and more people are starting to kind of talk about it, but I think people still, again, back to people think that massage therapy and chiropractic is more voodoo.
Yeah.
But this is sort of on another level that we don't really discuss. There are some people, even in like, being a Christian myself, people will think that yoga is evil or, well, and I believe that there's so much more that we don't understand with regards to our bodies. And so the energy work, and there's even there's so much scientific basis for a lot of different things. And so the same thing would apply that, like, okay, your body on a cellular level has electrons and like
we're electrical beings.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah,
and so, and I think that we can be in tune with that sort of thing because most people know, like, if somebody's staring at you, you feel that somebody's staring at you. You can feel that. Or like when we were kids and somebody played the like, oh, I'm not touching you, not touching you.
Yeah.
You feel like somebody is touching you.
Yeah.
So is that sort of in the same realm?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, it's even like if you rub your hands together and then you pull them apart slowly, it's like you feel the heat, or maybe you feel a little bit of a buzz, you know? I like to think too, like, I have a lot of musicians in my life, and so when they're on stage, they even say that, they feel the energy of the crowd, you know? So, you know, if there's not really that many people there, it feels different to be performing versus if everyone's having a great time and people are dancing, it changes their experience as a musician, right? So it's like, we use that terminology of like, oh, you feel the energy of the crowd, or I really just, you know, if you meet somebody and you can tell that they're sad, you can tell that they're angry, or you meet somebody and you're just really, I always say, you don't like their stink. It's like, it's right down to like, you know, animals are like that, right? They know when they connect with someone else or not. And we do too. It's just, I don't know why using that word energy, people are like, oh, it's voodoo. Like, it just has a weird
I think the more acceptable term is
now.
Like vibes now. You can say your vibrations, or that's something you can get into though with regards, because you mentioned music, like the difference between different tunings, like 432 versus 440, which is something I've dived down into a little bit as well.
Frequency's powerful.
I think that people try to explain those things away. And that's something that the whole spirituality part of things that people will explain, like, oh no, that was just euphoria and you just had a boost of serotonin or dopamine. Like, okay, just because you can explain the methodology doesn't mean that the spiritual work or the energy work wasn't also happening. Just because we can explain it on like a cellular level, there's maybe things that we haven't discovered, or we in Western culture just don't accept as things that can be worked on and can be addressed.
Yeah. And I know you had said before, like, being a Christian, I know that there is some, we'll call it stickiness as far as being a Christian connected to God, and then people who are offering Reiki treatments. And again, back to the whole, we don't fix people, the whole God complex, that kind of thing. It's not me that's like giving you the energy. I'm not like, you get to have this Megan experience, you know? Like, it's truly just like, I'm just opening up as, I don't even want to say a channel, but like, I'm just basically being a funnel for it, right? So I'm like, use me to help support this person.
So what is the process then of a Reiki, like walk me through from sort of beginning to end of what a Reiki treatment would be? Like, what are you doing?
So for me, like I mean, I open myself up to the energy. I walk into the room, and I do this before a massage therapy treatment too. Like I always I'll stand outside the door and just, say the person's name to myself and say like, like guide me on what their body needs basically, right? So when I walk into the room to do Reiki, typically I start at the feet because that helps to give that kind of like grounding energy. And I never really know exactly what to expect, right? Because sometimes people's bodies are so wildly open, it's like you just feel the rush of the energy, and
Describe
it's
what do you mean by that?
oh,
Try
it's
to
so-
describe it
it's
because
so-
I'm so curious.
I do struggle to explain this because it's interesting that I feel like I've experienced this type of thing my whole life. And then when I went to my first level of Reiki, I walked out and felt like everything makes so much more sense to me. And at that point, like I didn't realize that other people don't experience the world in that way. Like some people just don't feel those things. So it is a struggle for me to explain it, but it's like sometimes I'll even get like the tingles throughout my body or just a little bit like a wave of energy that flows through my body. It's a really gentle touch. Some people don't even touch while they're doing Reiki. They just hover above because it is easier to feel the flow of the energy. And truly, like if I'm standing there with my hands hovered above you, sometimes my body gets moved to the area that needs the attention. It's fascinating. Like I've asked people questions afterward and said, like I treated someone a couple of months ago and I said, do you have a tailbone injury? And she's like, oh my gosh, yes. And told me this whole story about this injury that she had. And I said, okay, like you need to see an osteopath or a chiro, like something needs to happen here because I could just tell without her having said anything to me, without me doing any manual work, just being guided to that area that there was something going on there. So I just feel like when you're open to it, I always say, people say, how do you know where to go? It's like you have radar in your elbow. And I say, your body talks. We've stopped listening to our own bodies,
We don't have language. It's funny how you were trying to describe it because you said tingles. It's like, okay, it's not necessarily always a physiological experience. It's not something that
Correct.
you feel like, oh, you're getting goosebumps. Or
Yeah.
we in the English language don't have words to be able to really describe those spiritual experiences, I find. And so
yeah, I mean, that makes me feel comforted in the fact that I'm like, I don't know how to explain it. It's an experience.
we don't have words to be able to be like, okay, I have, because then you can sort of get into like, okay, like Dragon Ball Z, you kind of feel the like, oh, I have fireballs, but it's not actual fire, it's not heat, it's that spiritual energy that we, I mean, our society has largely been a Judeo-Christian society, and so we kind of default to things we don't understand are scary or of the devil.
Yeah, and I think that people do have those experiences in church, right? Like when you're in a group and everybody's focusing on the same kind of thing, right? Like you can have it is a spiritual experience, right? I treated someone a long time ago and she was, had been in a fairly intense church situation and wanted to try Reiki, and afterwards said, what I felt, I was taught I could only feel while I'm in church. And I said, whoa, like that's powerful, really interesting to share with me. But yeah, I was like, no, I mean, I personally feel like, you can tap into that at any point. Like you can connect to God anywhere, anytime. It's not about Sunday morning at a specific location, right? And so I thought that was amazing to be able to kind of create that expansiveness in her mind. And also for me, it was really interesting feedback. I was like, oh, no one's ever told me that was the feeling that they got or the experience that they had. So,
and I feel that people's spirituality is something they really try to hide. Again, they try to hide it because it's not something we talk about at large. I think in other cultures, they talk about their spirituality. I'm not very familiar with other cultures, but I think they're more open about it and more willing to discuss that sort of thing. Whereas for us, it's kind of this like, oh no, that's between me and God.
Right.
Or that's between...
what is it? You don't talk about religion or politics, right?
Yeah.
It's like money, religion, politics. They're off the table.
But I even see spirituality as a tertiary to that. Like it's something that's not, because our church and politics have kind of been commingled, and there's sort of more the legality, the rules that you need to follow. Whereas the spiritual experience, and even on the flip side of being able to experience that in church, is something like a Ouija board where you're able to move and get letters and numbers. And people, there's two sides to that. There's the good, and then there's the evil side of it that people just, okay, there are two different sides to spirituality, to religion's the wrong word, but to this realm that we're not really tapped into in Western culture, that we don't really talk about.
I think there's a gray zone, right? Like, I think we mingle in the gray zone, or I do anyway. But yeah, a lot of people think it is just a black and white, good and bad. And yeah, I definitely think there's a gray zone there.
There's definitely like different. Do you feel that when you are working with somebody, is there a strength to your Reiki with regards to if someone you would deem as a spiritual person? Is there more of a strength versus somebody who is not? Or is it something that you are able to channel it regardless?
I mean, I think I feel it more strongly with people who I already have a connection to. And I think maybe, because it does come down to how open they are to it, right? Like if there's still a hesitancy, people will block it too. They might think that they're open to this and they want you to come and do a Reiki treatment on them, and then you can get in the room and it's like, you're not receiving it, And so then there has to be some conversation. I obviously don't say that to them, but some conversation, get them talking, try to get them to open up more to the energy, because if they really aren't open to it, and this is a funny thing too, people will say, I don't want you to do that on me. And I'm like, I don't want to do it on you if you don't want it. Also, I can't. Like if you're that, closed off to it. Also, you don't believe in it, but you don't want me to do it to you, which is just this funny little dance we do with some people for sure. But
the same thing with regards to like your muscle. You can't massage somebody who's all tense and stuff. So if spiritually, if you are tense, you can't really do that to somebody.
Yeah, I like that. That's so true. Because sometimes people do fight you. You're working on a muscle and they're flexing it against you, and it's like, or even doing the work that's really deep. Sometimes people think, I need really deep work. Like, you can't hurt me. I do hear it a lot. It's like, okay, but like, let me know, because I'm going to be able to tell if your body is resisting, and if you are fighting against me, or your body is fighting against me, whether you consciously recognize it or not, then we're not getting anywhere. Like why are you here? You know what I mean? So, but I'm far enough in my career now too that I can read people's bodies pretty well. So if there is that resistance, then I'll back off and explain to them. I've had people say like that they want more pressure, and I'll explain to them that their body isn't responding to it, and talk about why sometimes we do need to approach the body with more gentleness and compassion, which is kind of my vibe. So, but yeah, a lot of people we're just not used to that. I hear no pain, no gain all the time. And I have to say, I'm not a no pain, no gain therapist, like I don't actually want to hurt people. I want you to feel good. I want you to feel supported. I want you to feel better when you leave. So, yeah.
Well, you're doing that again, back to remedial. You're doing that remedial work. And if you are hurting somebody or you're causing damage, that's definitely not what you want to do.
Right. Because then, next time you come back, you'll say, I was sore for a week. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is not what we want at all. That's not the intention by any means. Right. So, yeah.
So we kind of digressed a little bit there, but in the same vein as what people don't understand or don't really talk about, you just did a course on lymphatic drainage.
I did.
How comfortable?
Dr. Botter, manual lymphatic drainage.
How comfortable do you feel talking about lymphatic drainage now?
I mean,
or just the lymph system in general, because people know your blood, they know your blood system, and your vasculatory system, I guess it would be. And so you can openly discuss that. You cut yourself, you bleed, you get a bruise, but your lymphatic system is entirely different from, not entirely, it is a different system of fluid throughout your body.
Yeah.
So what is your lymphatic system?
Okay, so I think that most people are familiar with the term lymph nodes. So, and whenever you hear, someone has cancer, the first question is it in their lymph nodes? But how does the lymph travel to the lymph nodes? There are lymph vessels. There's a whole system throughout your body that's moving lymph towards the lymph nodes.
Back up one more step. What is lymph then?
Oh, okay. So the lymph, I don't know if I can really describe like what it is like.
Your blood carries red blood cells and a bunch of stuff.
And the lymph helps to process like inflammation. It finds basically like it's part of your immune response. So it will find foreign substances, whether it's, it could be like dust in your lungs. And there are, I think they're called macrophages, that will go and they kind of gobble it up, take it into your lymph system, and help move it through your body so that your body can process those foreign objects, not objects, but foreign like substances that are maybe impeding your immunological response. Yeah.
And taking those outside of your vasculatory system to be dealt with through your kidneys and through your liver.
To be processed out of the body. Yeah. Yeah.
So then what is lymphatic drainage that you just learned about?
So, yeah. So it's a really, really gentle technique. I was actually fascinated by how superficial and how gentle it is, and also how incredibly powerful it was. The first place that you always start with a lymphatic treatment is at the neck. And I noticed that even within like the first couple of movements or pumps sort of, that I could feel my sinuses draining. There was already movement, and I would cough, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is, again, back to that whole, like, we need to support our bodies and be gentle and compassionate. And this goes right along with that, because it is such like a superficial, gentle, like it's almost a feather touch. It's so
Really?
light. It's wild because, and I learned a little bit, like we touched on the lymphatic system during massage therapy training. And I've had many people ask me throughout the years, do you do lymphatic drainage? And I've said, no, I never specialized in it. And I, in my head, always thought, like massage therapy is going to move the lymph along to an extent. But when you're applying that much pressure, it actually sort of crushes the lymph system so that it's not able to, essentially it moves like this, like throughout the system up towards the lymph nodes where it's being processed. So basically it crushes it, and then it takes a few minutes for it to reinflate, we'll say, and be able to do its work again. So massage therapy isn't really affecting the lymph system at all. It's this like very gentle kind of movements. And essentially with manual lymphatic drainage, now there are many levels of it. I have the first level, so I'm able to do more of like the basic lymphatic drainage on people whose, systems are intact, and, your heart is strong and your lungs are working well and all of that stuff. But throughout the like level 2 and level 3, they're working on people who have like serious issues like lymphedema, or even, I don't know if you've ever seen that, one leg is really swollen up. It's almost like the elephantitis type of thing. And they're working on helping people with that. So the lymph system's amazing. It's really, really powerful.
So it's more of a passive system as opposed to the active, like your heart is pumping your blood, whereas your lymph system is more a system of, is it large vessels, like you've got your heart into your large branches and then into smaller, like your capillaries? Is it similar with the lymph system?
Yeah. So like the nodes would kind of be like the larger portion, whereas the vessels are smaller, and there's a whole system of it. I mean, it goes throughout your whole body, right? So.
And it's passive, like you said. Like when I remember when my grandfather, before he passed, had like wicked edema in his legs.
Yeah. Okay.
And so if you're not moving, if you're sitting all the time, you may get that like swelling. Or pregnant ladies will get the edema in their feet.
Yeah. It can. Yeah, it just kind of, if the system gets overloaded, then it doesn't have the capacity to process all of the swelling, the inflammation, and to be able to process it out. So
I'm surprised that it needs to be gentle, because one of the first things that I do, like when I'm sick, you can feel like it's funny that you mentioned your lymph nodes and your neck.
Yeah.
Because the first thing I do when I'm sick is just like, oh yeah, swollen lymph nodes, and you just rub the crap out of them. You're like, all right, let's get everything. We're gonna make it feel better.
Yeah, but now it's like, oh wait, maybe if I did it with a more gentle approach, it could be more powerful, right? Like.
Now, how would that work after massage therapy? Because massage therapy, I would presume, would release a lot of that fluid. Like if you have that muscle tissue, it's going to sort of break it down, and then all of that cellular fluid has to go somewhere. So would it be beneficial for somebody to get a massage one day and then the next day go back for lymphatic drainage?
Absolutely. Or even
in the same treatment?
In the same treatment, yeah. So you would get in there, break things up, especially if there's like a fascial restriction. So whether it's in your tendons, or like IT band would be your, it's really, really dense fascia. Being able to kind of break that stuff apart, and then coming in with the manual lymphatic drainage at the end, you're going to have less discomfort potentially the following day because that inflammation is being processed out properly. One thing that they touched on in the course too was like delayed onset muscle soreness. So if someone runs a marathon, then doing a manual lymphatic drainage treatment on them, and then the following day or the following 2 days, they're experiencing less, potentially no discomfort. I was like, what?
Interesting.
So amazing, because it is just like this gentle treatment, but so powerful.
What drew you to this field? What made you curious and want to pursue it as a career?
Massage therapy.
Just
As
all
a
of it,
whole?
all of it. You're continuing to learn. You
Yeah.
are growing, and like I think part of it is, hey, I want to make more money, be able to, and that's not a bad thing. I think to offer more services to help more
Yeah.
people. But what initially really drew you to wanting to be a massage therapist or wanting to get involved in these practices?
Yeah. So I went to massage therapy school straight out of high school, and honestly was in, the 12th grade. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And my best friend at the time, she said, you could do massage therapy as a career. And it was not on my radar at all. All of my friends recognized that I was already a very high contact person. I always had my hands on people. I was always rubbing their shoulders. I was oblivious to this for some reason. Again, I guess it's like, oh, other people don't navigate the world the way that I do? Okay. So I looked into a couple of schools and found one that I really liked. And they actually do like a weekend course basically as an intro to make sure that, yeah, this is something that you want to do. So I did the weekend course, and after that I was like sold. And I remember I used to have long fingernails and I had to cut them that weekend. I had permanent bracelets, I had to cut them, and I was like, wow, like I felt like it was like so symbolic. I'm doing these, like it seems so silly now, but it's like at the time it was like really like I'm committing to this. And yeah, after that weekend, I just realized it was something that I wanted to do. And people will say to me, how did you know you wanted to touch people for a living? I'm like, it sounds so funny to say it that way. And we actually, with our association and the college, we are required to do continuing education units. And I'm really glad that we are, because they find a lot of different courses that are, they vet them essentially and make sure that they're really great courses for us to take. And so we're just always continuing to learn and add to the practice. And sometimes I take courses and I don't use them to I don't offer that full treatment, but there's always something that I can pull, always something that I can learn and add to the practice for sure.
I'm the type of person that weekend course would just, no, I'd be done. Would you consider yourself an extrovert or extroverted at all?
No.
Really? Because I would perceive massage therapy being more of an extroverted practice. I'm an introvert. I'm an extroverted introvert. So I recharge when I'm by myself.
As
but
do
I enjoy a little bit of people. But like I cannot imagine even spending a weekend touching people or having people touching me. Drives me like thinking about it, I'm on edge right now. No, thank you. That is not
funny.
Even Nicole and I, we're both, which is thank God, we don't really like touch at all.
Yeah.
So we'll like hug and
not your
cuddle
love
a little.
language?
Yeah, no, not even a little bit.
Yeah.
So for me, it's no.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, and you mentioned it, like how different people perceive the world, and like you are very touchy. Do you feel like that would be along the lines of your spirituality, that is how you have always connected with people looking back?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely. It's just, I'm definitely a physical touch person even. But it's interesting too. It's like people often feel like they can touch me when I'm out in public. I'm just like, I don't know what this energy is that I give off. It's like somebody needs a hug and they come to me. I'm like, oh, okay, well, bring it in, I guess. Like, soak up the vibes, man. Like, I wouldn't say I'm extroverted.
Interesting.
Because with massage, like you're one-on-one, right? And one-on-one is way different than interacting with a bunch of people. And I love that. Like I love the one-on-one or like smaller groups. I definitely do recharge on my own. It can be really draining I treat 4 people a day. I know people that put their hands on a lot more than that, but at this point, that's 4 to 5 people is my maximum, because after that, I don't have energy left for myself. And then I really have to go home and kind of curl up and eat my favorite foods and, just have that moment to recharge. So
has that changed throughout your career? Because how long have you been in massage therapy?
So I've been full-time for 15 years. definitely has changed. Like I remember there was a time when basically I was just like, yep, I'll treat you whenever you can come. And so I was treating, 6, 7 people a day whenever they could accommodate, whenever they could make it in, essentially. And now I've reached a point in my career where it's like, these are the hours that I work. This is my availability. You need to figure out how to fit into my schedule, essentially. And I guess I've gone through bouts of burnout too, where I've had to take, weeks or even months away from it. Life happens, and sometimes you don't have the energy to give to other people. It's not easy being in the healthcare profession. So
I feel like everybody does that in their 20s. You find the ends, the limits of like, I'm going to do nothing and then I'm going to do way too much. Like, okay, where's the middle ground of what I can sort of have control over?
Yeah, what feels good for me. And the other thing is, my first appointment on Monday, I want the quality of that to be the same as my last appointment on Friday, right? So I want to feel good at the end of the week, but I also really believe that whoever is on the table deserves to be getting that high quality treatment. And I've canceled days before because I've woken up and I'm like, I don't have it in me today. And they aren't going to get what they deserve, what they're paying for, what they're expecting, and what they really need to support their bodies, right? So, and there was a time where I would have thought, oh my gosh, I can't cancel on people. But now it's not just about me. It's not just about that. It's finding that balance.
It goes back to the energy work and the spirituality of it. Like, if your heart's not in it, then you're just like, no, I don't care.
Yeah.
And people can feel when you're apathetic towards it, even though you throw on a smile and you do the work. People can feel that energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've gone through stressful times in my life, and then months later, somebody that I see regularly will be like, were you going through something? And I think that I'm there, I'm doing the work, and I feel good about the treatments that I'm giving, but they do know. And that goes back to, if we want to talk about Reiki, energy, whatever, you do recognize that in other people. You can tell when they're having a bad day or when they're just not themselves.
So what certifications are required for what you do? Are all of like the lymphatic drainage, the Reiki, and massage therapy? I know massage therapy is regulated, but are any of the other practices you offer regulated in that sort of way?
So like Reiki wouldn't fall under our massage therapy. Like that's something totally separate. You're not going to bill that through your insurance. There are some, like the Massage Therapy Association in the college, they know that I'm trained in Reiki and that's something that I offer, that kind of thing. The manual lymphatic drainage, the one that I just took, is by the Dr. Vaughter Institute, and they're kind of like the top shelf for manual lymphatic drainage. It's out of Austria originally. It goes back to 1926 or something like that. And so I will tell the College of Massage Therapy that this is the course that I took. They recognize it for continuing education. It'll be added to sort of my roster of treatments that I offer. And so then I'm able to still bill your insurance and do that as a massage therapist, because it's still massage. It's not massage therapy. It's like adjacent to, in a way, but hands-on techniques, complementary to massage therapy. And yeah, also has that like scientific basis, right? Like we're still working on the physiology. Yeah.
Do you require those certifications? Like, could anybody open up shop I know if you wanted to bill through insurance, you need to, but could anybody open up shop as a massage therapist and be able to do it?
Yeah. So that's always been kind of back to the language is important. So I'm a registered massage therapist, which means that I'm recognized under the college and the association. We have to have a minimum of 2,200 hours for our initial massage therapy course. But technically, somebody could say, oh, I do massage therapy, or I give massages.
Really?
Yeah, but they can't bill insurance, they can't, it's tricky. Yeah, there are definitely some people not very far from here who do that.
That's so interesting to me, because I feel like there's so many other professions that are more heavily regulated. Like even for us with regards to food, I can understand to a certain extent, but the food regulations in New Brunswick are weird and annoying to kind of navigate. But I think even to like cut hair, you need to have your course, you need to have a certificate, and anybody who's really touching people, not that I'm for more government regulation by any means,
right?
But when you are dealing with like you could have lesions on your hands, or you
Right.
could be sick, or like you are dealing directly with people. Like that should be something that you need to be mindful of.
Yeah.
And that anybody can technically open up shop is alarming.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Well, and so we're still not fully recognized as a medical profession, hence why we still have to charge HST, right? Which has been, I mean, I was in school 20 years ago and we were talking about it then, trying to move towards being more recognized as a medical profession. You know, like I believe like chiropractors, physiotherapists, they don't have to charge HST because it's medical. And so we've always had an association. In 2014, the College of Massage Therapists was founded. And at that point, I think there were 5 provinces that had colleges, which meant that they were more heavily regulated, which meant that we were moving closer towards being recognized as a medical profession. Here we are in 2025, and I don't know how much movement's been made towards that, but you know, I understand there's lots of government paperwork and red tape and all of those things, but yeah.
Is that a Canada exclusive thing, or is it, I guess, province New Brunswick thing, or is that something that massage therapy is recognized in the US or in other countries as an actual medical profession?
I don't have an answer for that. I don't know. I don't know what the education's like in the
Because it seems
the
like
States.
a weird, hard line to draw. Like you mentioned chiropractics and physical therapy. I would say those, like massage therapy falls right in the middle there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's odd for it not to be something that is a medical profession.
Agreed.
Because is it not something that physical therapists practice a little bit at least too?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the physical therapist, I guess. And it's interesting, like, you know, we all refer to each other in the professions, right? So, you know, massage, physio, chiro, acupuncture, they all work so beautifully together and it's respected, but we just, I guess,
so odd.
the right person hasn't signed off. I
Yeah.
don't know all the ins and outs there. I know that, you know, there's lots of people working behind the scenes. We've signed many petitions. You know, there was stuff for even as patients and that's another thing. And we weren't allowed to refer to you as a patient. It was clients only, but now we've transitioned to using that language. And so we're trying to use it. It's like a real reprogramming for my brain because I was taught, you know, these are clients, not patients. And now I have to switch over. But, you know, even that is more of a medical terminology, right?
It's so odd that it wouldn't be, because I guess I liken everything to sports. I think of things in terms of sports because those guys men and women are using their bodies very heavily, so you
Yeah.
really need to treat those. And that's the one thing that, like, okay, you get off the field or you get off the court and like, okay, you're being massaged, you're taking care of those muscles, you get an injury, that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
That whether you're just massaging it or the lymphatic drainage for any edema that
Yeah.
occurs, or that's super weird to me.
Yeah. I think it's just, for a long time, we just kind of floated in the middle of like, it's like, we're not in the aesthetics industry, and then we're also not being recognized in the medical industry. And so we've always kind of been in the middle there, and we're starting to slowly move closer towards the medical side of things. And I mean, I've seen a shift even in just the public perception because, so I was doing massage therapy here in 2010 to 13. And then I moved out west. I did massage therapy there as well. And when I returned in 2016, it was so amazing to see how many people were actually using their insurance benefits, were actually coming in for massages. Like my business just took off like crazy. And I thought, what happened in the 3 years that I wasn't here? I'm happy about it. But yeah, people just really started using it more. And I used to see almost exclusively women were coming to see me, and now men are taking care of their bodies too, and they're seeing the value in massage therapy. You know, again, it's not just the 25-cent back rub. It's like, okay, there's actually, you know, this is therapy. This is going to help you feel better. It's going to change the way that you sleep, change the way that you move. You're just going to feel better on the daily, you know? So yeah, it's been really great to see how much it's changing public perception. It will be even better when all those regulations get caught up too.
Do you think it's something that everybody should be getting or receiving massage
Yeah.
therapy? Why?
Everybody has stress in their life to some extent. Like we said earlier, it's the number one cause of all disease. And even like I think back to, you know, 2020, 2021, there were times that I was treating somebody and I know that I was the only physical contact that they were getting for weeks at a time. And we are humans. I mean, you say you guys aren't really into physical touch, but sometimes you do just need a hug. You do need that human interaction. You do need that positive touch. I had someone ask me about bringing their kids in. They have like a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old. And I said, absolutely. Bring them in now. Teach them about their bodies. I always talk to kids about, boundaries as well. It's your body. You deserve to get what you want from this treatment. Ask as many questions as you want, that kind of thing. Teaching them now to take care of their bodies. Kids are in sports, all that kind of thing. Yeah, there's so many reasons. But I mean, even if it just comes down to stress, I mean, that shows up in your body, it shows up in your mind, and to take an hour for yourself, or take 30 minutes or 45 minutes or 90 minutes, whatever it is that you need to just breathe and not have to worry about anything. Let somebody else take care of you. It's just so powerful.
It's important to have that mindfulness too.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing too. It's just gives you body awareness. Like you said, oh, I didn't even know those muscles were tight or that I had been using them, because you're so focused on, say, shoulders or low back or wherever it is that your body's kind of screaming about at the time, right? But getting that body awareness and releasing some of those muscles so that you feel different when you stand up. And so maybe you move differently, or you just pay more attention, because instead of thinking, this is just my body now, you realize, oh, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, I can feel better. And just actually listening to your body, which is huge, because we're all outside of our bodies so much of the time. Autopilot, going through the day.
That's why I feel that everybody should experience at least once. I understand people don't have insurance, it can be expensive, but every facet of those types of therapies. I've tried cupping, actually I think you did the cupping for me last time I did it. Acupuncture, massage therapy, like all of those things should be something that you get to try at least once, because then you do have that mindfulness and the experience of recognizing where things are on your body. Like I have cracked my neck and my knuckles my entire life, but the first time popped, adjusted, whatever.
You're not a chiropractor. You can't do adjustments.
Yes. Oh shoot. But yeah, I have made noises with my neck my entire life, and going to a chiropractor and like feeling how it was supposed to be done, and like, oh cool, like I now know either what I've been doing or what I've been doing wrong, because a lot of people are just like turn their neck or to be able to feel that. And so having somebody else manually manipulate you and do it, that way you can recognize, okay, when you need that, because I feel like it's a spectrum, that sometimes your body, you go through periods where, okay, I don't need massage therapy, my body's fine, I'm doing okay.
Yeah. Or, I don't need massage right now, I need to see the chiropractor.
Exactly.
Or I need acupuncture. Or even, once somebody finds a massage therapist, often they're committed to that one person. But I say, every time someone new pops up, I'm like, I'm booking in. I want to know, what's your style? Like, how do I feel connected to this person? Like, what can they help me with? Because I'll say, maybe you need an Amanda, maybe you need a Megan, maybe you need a whoever. And you get to know how your body responds to certain treatments, what you need, like, again, tuning in, body awareness, listening to your body and actually honoring what it is that it's asking for, because not every situation calls for massage therapy. Not every situation calls for chiro, whatever. Your body, even, as far as injuries go, people will say, oh, I tried physical therapy, it didn't work. I'm like, did you do your homework? Also, maybe it's not right for that particular situation. Maybe you do need acupuncture and massage, like every situation is different and calls for different intervention.
One thing that we didn't mention sort of in that litany of treatments there was essential oils. I think that's a little bit different, but what do you use essential oils for? Is it like an assist to what you do, or is aromatherapy something that you can use exclusively in a treatment?
So, yes, and I do both. I really feel, as long as the person is comfortable with it, that adding an essential oil really helps to just add to the relaxation. And if that person is relaxed on the table, they're already releasing some stress on their own, it makes my job so much easier, and they are going to feel the benefits of that. So there are some people that come in and they're like, why would I just get a regular massage when I can have some essential oils added too? Ooh.
My curtain fell.
So there's that. I use peppermint because it does help with pain, or if somebody is experiencing a lot of headaches. I think peppermint and maybe like lavender are the most widely accepted of the essential oils. People can really get on board with that. Often I'll do a blend of like peppermint and basil because basil does have the anti-inflammatory qualities, and when you blend them together, it smells like licorice, which is amazing and strange. I don't know how that works, but you know, yeah. And I have the, oh my gosh, the doTERRA Deep Blue, which is a blend of a bunch of, you know, different kind of all the menthols and camphor and all these delightful things. I always think of it as like a all natural Voltaren or something like that. So it just feels really good. It does help to relax the muscles, gives you that icy hot kind of, feels like hydrotherapy without it being hydrotherapy. So I do incorporate the oils in a couple of different ways. I also offer a raindrop treatment, which is trademarked by Young Living. So you have to use Young Living oils, which quality of the oils is a whole other topic of discussion. So that has a lot more, I guess there's the aromatherapy component. Technically, we can say it's a relaxation treatment because, as you said, there's lots of regulations around all of these things. But it does also work. I mean, I'm doing GSM, so General Swedish Massage, which is the basis of our massage therapy training. I'm working with hydrotherapy. The oils are very, very potent, so they're going to be reaping the benefits of all of the, like the therapeutic benefits of the oils. Also, the aromatherapy aspect is very relaxing. There's like acupressure points involved with that as well, and stimulation to the nervous system to increase that relaxation as well, and like the parasympathetic nervous system. So I love the oils.
Okay, let's
about
take a quick break and then we'll talk about the essential oils a little bit more. So we were just talking about essential oils a little bit, and over the last couple of years, I have started to dabble. My mom was really always into it, and so the biggest one that probably a lot of people know of would be Thieves oil for illness, and I am more of the side of like teas and things. I prefer drinking a tea. Aromatherapy isn't really something I'm in tune with or do much of or deal with essential oils. So what other oils, you mentioned basil and peppermint. What are, or do you know that those oils are good for, or what other ones do you use?
I do use Thieves a lot.
What is the story? You
know the story?
You go ahead, because I'm sure there are people who don't.
The story, as I was told, is that it's called Thieves because the blend of essential oils was used back in the time of like the plague. So when people were suffering, dying from the plague, so they're infected, there were thieves that would come in and loot their homes. And what they would do is put these essential oils on cloth, a mask, whatever, hold it over their face when they went into the home to steal, loot, and then they didn't end up getting sick. So apparently it's quite a powerful blend.
I heard the version I was taught was slightly different, was because the time was when perfumes and like gems and gold were really valuable. So what they were stealing was the perfumes, and they were the only ones who didn't get sick.
Interesting. But same concept of
exactly.
It
It protected them from the plague or any illness that the people going into their houses that they would otherwise have gotten sick from.
Yeah, and so I mean, I know like if people are coming in, I guess obviously massage therapy, I'm one-on-one with these people for an hour at a time and being exposed to whatever they're carrying. I will put Thieves on my heels because the pores are larger. It will just get into your system more quickly. And I actually spoke with a friend of mine, and he said, I didn't really know about this. You know, I thought maybe it was just hokum. You know, there's just the psychological factor or placebo effect. But he did it on his kids, and he's like, they don't know about placebo effect. Like, and they don't get sick, or they're half as sick as their friends were. So
specifically Thieves oil?
Specifically Thieves, yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I always know, growing up, Mom liked to use peppermint because it wakes you up. The menthol wakes you up first thing in the morning. I know peppermint is a good digestive, good for your digestive system.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually a little nervous coming down here, and I took a Digest blend, I don't know if that's how you say it, but that's how I say it. And it's peppermint and ginger. And I've used it many times. It works remarkably well if your tummy doesn't feel quite right. So, yeah, but I mean, back to like, I mean, we shouldn't say we all, but you know, ginger has that effect. If you have a ginger tea, right, it will settle your tummy. So why then having it in a really potent way, an essential oil, would it not have the same or greater effect, right? People ask me often, you know, oh, do you really believe in these essential oils? And I say at the end of the day, if it's a scent that makes you feel relaxed, if it's a scent that reminds you of something, if it takes you somewhere, then it's done its job. You don't have to think it's going to cure you of some disease or it's whatever. But if it has some sort of a positive effect on you, then yeah, why wouldn't you utilize it?
That goes back to the sort of spirituality, what we were talking about, and being able to explain it doesn't mean it didn't work. Because there are some things like in some of those blends or some of those, like I know pinene in like pine oil is really good for you, or the menthol in mint or camphor and different things. Like, okay, those in that concentration, like those are used medicinally in medicine and other medicines. So why wouldn't it work as a topical oil or even as an oil blend using a carrier oil?
Yeah. Yeah, considering how much of the, like say with rose, right? It takes a lot of rose petals to create a rose oil, right? To break it down. And I guess that's talking about price point too. Sometimes people wonder, you know, why is this one more expensive than this one? And it can be the quality of the oils, because I do know that to say it's pure essential oil doesn't necessarily mean the whole bottle is that essential oil. It only has to be a small percentage as far as, you know, we're crafty with regulations and the way we can word things sometimes. But then some oils are just more expensive because it takes more of the, you know, the petals, the leaves, the whatever it is from the plant that they're using to create the oil, right? So which makes sense.
I visited a lavender farm last year, and they had a
I
big
wanna do that
they had a
this
big
year.
still that they would distill their essential oils in. I'm like, oh, do you make and sell a lot of essential oils? They're like, no, I would have to use all of the flowers to make like this much, like nothing.
It's wild.
Yeah, they just do it as a hobby, and I was super surprised because I was like, you could make so much, it would be so valuable. No, because it takes so much plant material to be able to make some of those, especially lavender, which we have a very short season here. It doesn't grow willingly really well here.
Yeah.
What are some of your go-to, like your top 5 essential oils?
Well, peppermint, basil, lavender. Lavender is great for relaxation. I know it's funny though, some people, and I was like this as well, where I really didn't like lavender, and I was like, oh, that stinks. Even the pure one, I was like, oh, it stinks. And then I thought about it, and oftentimes when we reject something, it's because we really need it. And I thought, how can I help to integrate this into my system so that I'm able to accept it, right? And lavender really helps to relax, like calm your nerves. And I was like, I don't feel nervous, but maybe I'm a little on edge. I don't know. So I started just putting it on the back of my neck. So I didn't have to smell it, but I was still absorbing it. I was still helping to integrate it into my system. And now I'm good. Now I love it. I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't know what the heck. Like, I must have been just a little bit wound tight then. So yeah, peppermint, basil, lavender. Yeah, I mean, I do use the thieves a lot, like during like cold and flu season. And I'm trying to think what else I have in my room too. There's a blend that Young Living does that's called Joy. And it's a really high vibration. It's kind of citrusy, kind of floral. I really like that one as well. Yeah. It's probably top 5, yeah.
I should move that mic just a little bit. It's covering your mouth.
Okay.
There we go. Better. Sorry.
All good.
So as I mentioned, I like essential oils. I kind of lump it in with tea. To me, it's sort of all in the same vein of like Chinese medicine. And so I've really been dabbling. I quit coffee 2 years ago. I also have one every once in a while. But like I drank coffee religiously for years. Like I would drink pots of coffee in university every single day. And I went to a naturopath because I felt like crap. And the first thing they always tell you is like, you got to get off coffee or drink less coffee. And I was always like, no.
What are you putting in your coffee?
Yeah. Well, I just drank it black.
Yeah.
Always did.
Where are you
Loved
sourcing
it
it from?
Yeah. And I was a coffee snob. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it needs to be from Ethiopia. It needs to be like, yeah. I had the Chemex. I had all of like the coffee accoutrement to be able to brew coffee. And I just couldn't. After a while, I don't know what it was, but my body just started rejecting it. First thing in the morning, I used to be able to just cup of coffee and then I'd be good until like noon where I was starving. But it was just burning my stomach, and I switched over to teas, which I find much more relaxing. And a lot of the teas, I mean, I showed you around the property, a lot of the stuff we grow here.
Yeah.
My mint I grow here. I can't obviously grow real tea like the Camellia sinensis plant. It doesn't grow well in our climate, but I grow basically everything else, and we've been able to harvest it. So teas for me have been sort of that therapeutic. They've got the scent.
Yeah.
I add things, and similar along the lines of what makes you feel good. I threw in some cannabis, some hops, some.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of different types of things in my tea.
Little cinnamon stick. If you're feeling
I'm
Christmassy.
not a cinnamon. I don't like
Oh my
cinnamon.
gosh, I love cinnamon. All the cinnamon, yeah.
No, cinnamon's good. It's as far as I understand, it's a natural antiseptic, I believe, and it gets rid of like bugs and parasites. And there's a lot of things that I found in treating our animals that are good for parasites and parasite cleanses.
nice,
And
yeah.
so any anti-parasitic, there's a whole other vein that I could talk on for ages. But you
The
brought
people need to know, but another
it's-
day.
Well, it's a lot of people frown on natural remedies for animals, and like we won't worm
Really?
ourselves, but we worm our animals every season, and it's weird. The whole ivermectin vein, and we just won't go there. But you brought some water. It's Kanga.
So it's Kangen,
Kangen?
or Kangen. People always say, am I saying it incorrectly? I'm like, it's a Japanese word. We're probably going to say it wrong. That's okay. So Kangen. Kangen water.
What is it?
So as I understand the translation of Kangen into like English is return to source. So essentially it's water that is trying to be as pure, natural, the way that it should be coming from nature as you can be. So filtering out at least some of the stuff that, we have in our water system now. Changing the pH level so it's a little bit more alkaline. The machine that produces this actually...
Sorry, what is in our water now? I've lived on a well my entire life, so I'm not as familiar with... I know chlorine sometimes gets mixed in there. What is in people's water systems?
So, like locally, we do have chlorine in like the town water. There's lots of stuff that's leaching in there. They even find like birth control medications and stuff like that that's in the water. We have a really high manganese content in our water. It will show up, even like on your clothes or as like a black ring in the toilet. And I thought, the first time I saw that, I thought like, is this mildew? What's going on? But no, it's the manganese content, and it will show up as this it shows up as this black ring. There's just so much stuff that leaches into our water, but specifically like town waters, they will add certain chemicals to, kill bacteria, that kind of thing, make it safer. They also add chemicals to make it so that it's at a neutral pH. So it has to be 7.0-ish. But they achieve that through adding chemicals to it, because after it has all of this other chlorine and everything added to it, it's going to be more acidic.
That's another word.
Legally, you have to.
It's another word where language is very important, because then people will jump down your throat about the word chemical, because everything's a chemical. Everything's made of...
I know. You were made of chemicals. It's
Anyway,
like, some are good, some are not so good.
Yes, and it's kind of a misnomer to say it's an additive used to change whatever. You could use that huge word. But I know they've used chlorine, fluoride, like there's so many things that get put in the water, even if a water softener, you're putting salt in it to be able to soften your water.
Yeah. Well, and we don't we don't have fluoride in our water, which is great. And in the States, there's actually a website you can go on, and I think I'm not going to say it. I can tell you after for sure. I can look it up, but you can look and see what levels of whatever is in your water and how many times greater it is than what is actually safe. And then it will even say, most of them say cancer-causing agents, right? But whatever else that it might affect. So we don't have that as an option in Canada. we're pretty close to the United States. We could maybe check just over the border and get a good idea. I'm not sure about that, but yeah, in the States you can look up any city, town, and see exactly what's in your water, and it's shocking how many times higher it is than what is deemed to be
Safe.
acceptable for your
Wow.
body. Yeah, safe. Yeah, but it's legal. Like I don't.
It's the same thing with regards to the CFIA or FDA regulations. It's like every food has an allowable amount of something. That like to me, the example I use all the time is like rat shit. That there's an allowable amount of that in your cereals, and like, okay, how much rat or human feces are you willing to eat? Like, and then that goes back to
How much are you willing to?
down, yeah,
now we're
rabbit
on Fear
holes.
Factor.
Well, it's down rabbit holes of like, okay, well, the FDA approves what, whether it's COVID vaccine,
Yeah.
whether it's okay, there's been approval for this, but they also approve the amount of rat shit that
Yeah.
you can eat in your Cheerios.
Well, and like we said, like the language, right? Something says fat free. It doesn't mean what instinctually you think that means, right? Like, yeah.
Or stuff that's labeled gluten free that's just naturally gluten free.
Yeah, it's marketing, right? Like, when I was in, oh my gosh, I was in BC somewhere and I laughed. It was a hair salon and they had a big list of things on their sign outside and it said gluten-free haircuts and I thought it was hilarious. I was like, what a cheeky sign. Like, yeah, it was great.
What is Kangen water?
So, do you want to try it? Should
Yeah,
we pour
please.
some out?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want me to hold it so it's not on like the couch there, and or are you okay?
Maybe here. I'm pretty thirsty now anyway, so.
Warm in the studio.
It is warm, isn't it? So, cheers.
I'm drinking it before you even tell me what it is.
Trust, it's the trust. So, it contains molecular hydrogen, and it is a 9.5 pH level for alkalinity. The machine that produces this, you can set your level of how high or low you want the alkalinity to be. So 8.5, 9, 9.5, and then there's also a strong Kangen water that you typically would not ingest. It has other uses. I brought my little booklet here with the many uses of Kangen water. But yeah, so it contains molecular hydrogen, which is the smallest molecule that we know of. Because it contains the molecular hydrogen, it is more hydrating than your average water.
How does it contain molecular hydrogen?
So,
because as far as I understand, hydrogen is a gas, so it would have to be dissolved in. I mean, water is H2O, so it contains
Correct.
two hydrogens anyway. But is hydrogen isotope's not the right word.
We could say it. We could use it.
Is hydrogen somehow dissolved in water other than just the water molecules?
So the way that it's produced through the machine that I have is through an electrical process. So the machine's plugged into the water. It's also hooked up to my faucet. So water comes, your regular old water, feeds through the machine, goes through 8 titanium plates. So the electrical process happens within those titanium plates, and then it spits out your Kangen water. So it needs to be hooked up to your faucet because it does require that there are some minerals in the water for this electrical process to kind of bounce off of to produce more hydrogen in the water. So, like your magnesium, your calcium, that kind of thing that are naturally found in water. It's delicious, right?
What's the benefits of alkaline water then?
So the alkaline part is kind of the least interesting part. I think the molecular hydrogen is really what's most important because have you ever drank a big glass of water and you kind of feel that like sloshy feeling in your belly, or people say they're waterlogged, like, oh, they drank too much water? That will never ever happen with this water because the molecular hydrogen is that smallest molecule. It immediately diffuses once it gets into the stomach. So it's absorbed, it goes where it needs to go. it will absorb right down to the cellular level. It will even cross the blood-brain barrier to hydrate the brain, which is, there are very few things, right? Like there's some mushrooms, that kind of thing, that will cross the blood-brain barrier. So yeah, really like that high level of hydration. The hydrogen will also find free radicals throughout the body. There are some free radicals that we need in our body, like hydrogen peroxide is naturally occurring, and that's okay. It what's the word? It's I can't think of it right now, but it won't adhere to those kinds of things, but it will go out throughout your body. So whether it's inflammation, that kind of thing, it finds what doesn't need to be there. It will hook onto it and help to process it out of your body. So when you start drinking this, you definitely are like going to the bathroom a lot more because you're well hydrated, but also it's just on a mission to find the stuff that's kind of like hiding out in our bodies that doesn't need to be there to help flush it out. So
is it something too, you should drink Kangen water instead of regular water, like
Yes.
all of the time? Really?
Absolutely.
Have-
Like I said, I'm a water snob. I will take my own water to restaurants. Like my friends have just had to kind of get used to it. Like, okay, well, Megan's going to bring her own. Or I was at the course this weekend. I stayed down Saturday night. I brought a big jug with me. I was like, I can't go without it at this point.
It's
I mean,
like,
I can, but you know, I'm not.
Yeah,
I can
I know what you
survive,
mean. Like,
but
I can't.
I'd rather not.
I can't drink city water. Like, I can tell when it's tap water from like unfiltered.
Yeah.
You just like taste the chlorine, or like
Yeah.
it's just gross.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like I understand, you know, not because the system, it has a fair investment to be put into it.
What are we talking?
So for the machine in Canada right now, it's $5,700 plus tax. So in New Brunswick, we're at 15% tax. But it's going to last you 20, 25 years. You do have to clean it. Obviously, there's water going through it. It has its own little cleaning process, you know. It talks you through setting it up to, you know, you put the little, it's not a drawer, but you know, there's a solution that you put in and you set it up and it does its monthly cleaning. It takes 3 hours to make sure that everything is good inside and it's actually producing the level of hydrogen that you're expecting from it. But yeah, with the right care, it will last you 25 years.
What have you noticed a difference in? Do you have like a good control of before Kangen water versus after?
For me personally, so when I first started drinking it, I mean, I noticed a difference in my skin for sure. I was just properly hydrated, I guess. And then a lot of people will notice like, oh my gosh, I was going to the bathroom like crazy. And I didn't have that experience until I went away for 4 days and I didn't have it. And I was in Austin, Texas. So it was, you know, not the best water. And when I came home and I got back onto the hydrogen water, it was wild. Like my digestive tract was like, okay, let's clean things up here.
Wow.
Yeah. And then like I really believe in this water. I think it's amazing. Like, and it's not just drinking water. Like there's a whole bunch of other uses we can get into, or we don't have to. But
go for it. No, I want to know.
Yes,
So,
let's
like
know
you could
things.
bathe in Kangen water, and
I have a separate unit for my shower. It's by the same company, but it's not Kangen water. It does filter out chlorine, and I don't live in town anymore, but when I did do tests on the water to see, you know, there is chlorine present in our water, and then it goes through this filtration system and it removes it. There's also in that unit 3 different minerals. It's trying to emulate like the natural springs in Okinawa, Japan, which is where these come from because they do everything so well in Japan. So because if you think about it, you know, people are bathing in that water. You're soaking up the chlorine. Our skin is our largest organ. It's actually crazy how quickly we absorb the chlorine because I've done experiments with that as well, where you test the water, there's chlorine in it. You have another, you know, bowl of the same tap water, put your hand in it for 5 to 8 seconds, take it out, test it. There's no chlorine left in that water. You have fully absorbed all that was in there. So if you're, you know, bathing your kids and whatever, it's just, yeah.
well, and how bad is that for your microbiome then? Because if you're drinking that, like chlorine is an antiseptic, it's to clean it.
Yeah.
Obviously,
And
it makes
I
sense.
mean, I'll get in a swimming pool, like, you know.
But but on a regular basis, it's the same thing. It's like anything in moderation. You can eat snacks or whatever, and
Right.
we all do things that are bad for us. But
For
it's
sure.
in moderation should be your motto, I guess.
Yeah,
But
80/20.
having that every day, like if every time you reach for water or you fill a tap or whatever, you are drinking chlorinated water.
Yeah.
The chlorine will dissipate if you set it on the counter. It will dissipate
Right.
over time, but like nobody's pouring a glass of water, waiting, and most people will throw away their morning water if they left it on the nightstand overnight. So, yeah, that's getting in your body and then killing, presumably, your microbiome, or like you said, bathing in it, and then killing all the bacteria, the good bacteria that are on your skin.
Well, and then think about like, yeah, you're drinking it and then it's being processed like through your kidneys, through your bladder. It's affecting those organs too, right? So
There's a lot of
I mean-
things. A lot of things like that, like anything we consume or we put on our bodies, and that's why Nicole has been really into making her tallow. Like the huge difference between regular creams, like synthetic creams, versus something that's just beef tallow.
Yeah.
We encourage people to make it themselves, but we do make it and offer it because it's just.
I own some actually.
It's. Have you noticed a difference in using the tallow versus any other creams that you've used? Like I used to
Yeah.
be a Vaseline guy. I'd use Vaseline.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I did add some lavender oil to it though, because the first time I used it, I was like, whoa. It was for me like
Beefy.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I don't know if I can handle this.
Did you get the unscented one?
I must have.
Okay.
I didn't know
'Cause-
there was a scented one.
Well, we started when we originally did it. I think she was using lavender. There might
Yeah,
have
that
been-
was my
I think
immediate
no. We
thought.
did vanilla first, and then lavender, and then a lot of people were like, "Oh, do you do unscented?" But you, of course, used essential oils, but people just wanted an unscented version. And we were like, "It's beef fat.
Yeah.
Like it's just you're gonna
gonna
smell
have
like a
scent."
hamburger." But anyway, people have been continue to buy it, and I'm sure some people add their own essential oils,
Yeah.
and you're more than welcome to. Just
Yeah.
being careful not to burn yourself. But
yeah. Choose your essential oil
yeah,
wisely.
it can be a little beefy. I've seen some or smelled some that are people don't render it down. We render it down 5 or 6 times because it's like raunchy when you're doing it at
I
home.
believe it. I believe it.
But
yeah.
after a while, it gets a lot better because you're
Yeah.
adding salt to absorb all that stench. And different fats, you'll have them from different cows or different bulls that,
Yeah.
especially male bulls, will stink.
Right. Yeah. But yeah. I mean, it's great. It's like sort of like thicker. Like I find it, if I put it on in the morning, I have to wait a while if I'm going to put makeup on, but that's okay. It's just like planning your day. Right. But definitely at night, I love to put it on at nighttime and, you have the whole night for it to absorb. And I just feel better putting something natural on my skin, like we're talking the 80/20. It's like for the most part, I've gotten rid of products that had like, your toothpaste. I have natural toothpaste and now I have the beef tallow and, just not putting all those chemicals on your skin, but
How much do you feel is us falling for marketing versus us actually necessitating some of these things?
I feel really passionately about exposing myself to the natural products as opposed to the chemical stuff. So, and I think like if you feel or experience the difference, then that's all the research that I need for my own body,
That's the reason I ask is because there are some companies that I've seen that will eventually get bought out by larger companies and then using cheaper ingredients, and I had to switch deodorants for that reason. So you end up, start with something that's a small company and they're passionate about it and you're passionate about it, and then they either to make money or whatever, either sell out or start using cheaper ingredients that then results in a lower quality product.
Yeah. I guess, you have to continue to do your research and look into those things and read labels, which once you start doing that, it's a much longer trip to the grocery store or anywhere, right? But yeah, you're right. I know I've had that experience too of just being like, what? Like, who bought them out? Like, why would they do that? But again, yeah, like you're saying, it's money or we know that there's stuff going on right now with natural products in Canada and that whole squeeze, and maybe they have to, just to like continue to make a go of providing something that is in some way better than what we were previously using, right? Like,
I think we're seeing more and more of a black market, literally, for that sort of thing. Like in my circles, I guess we've got the raw milk and different things that like we're not allowed to sell. Like it's strictly prohibited for us, for our milk to leave our farm.
Yeah, in Canada, right?
Yeah.
But it's,
Yeah. In different parts in the U.S., it is illegal as well, but there's different
Okay.
regulations. Like in the U.S., they have the Raw Milk Institute, which is an organization that's really trying to push for less regulation, or not less regulation, better regulation on raw milk, rather than just saying it's dangerous, it's illegal. No, but to be able to, okay, your herd should be tested. You should have people coming in making sure your animals, because the only reason that, oh, people are gonna get mad at me. The only reason that raw milk is bad is if it's contaminated. Like raw milk itself is fed to baby cows, and it's just when people are not exposed to pathogens, or when the raw milk is like you have dirty teats or dirty buckets, or it's left out on the counter, like it's a natural food product, it's going to grow bacteria.
yeah.
It then becomes an issue.
Yeah.
But raw milk is something I've been very passionate about the last couple of years now, because it has its benefits, but a lot of the
Absolutely.
research done on it is like, okay, what are the dangers of raw milk? These massive dairy farms that are producing it, which is the vast majority of our dairy farms, are producing a ton of milk for general consumption. So it's going to the grocery store. So there's a lot of hands in the process, and everything that we advocate for is to reduce that.
Yeah.
So whether you are eating your fruits and vegetables or whether it's your milk, you should know where your food comes from.
And you should know where the research is coming from as well.
That's
So
another.
it's so much work to take care of ourselves these days.
Well, it's so frustrating with so much knowledge out there now, that I find, like, back when I took my degree, it was, okay, you learn how to research things. You learn how to look things up on Google Scholar
Yeah.
and how to find these like PubMed articles to support your ideals. And now I can look up anything and find arguments for or arguments against.
You will find what you're looking
Yeah.
for, right? Like that's the tricky thing when we do our Google research, because even with like the Kangen water, I've had people say it gives you cancer. I'm like, where did you find that? Like, does your Brita filter give you cancer? You know, like what in the world? The microplastics in your water that are an endocrine disruptor, maybe, but what? But yeah, you will find what you're looking for, right? If you punch it into Google, it's like, well, I'll give you an article that will support exactly what you're already thinking. So,
Well, and it's just to be able to be mindful of those. And like you said, do you feel better? Are you scared of it? Like, do your research to understand and to know. And a lot of people have foregone the thinking to somebody else. That's what I noticed throughout COVID.
Critical
that it was,
thinking.
yeah, I was throughout COVID. It was just like, oh, get vaccinated, do it for the betterment
Right.
of humanity, and like, hold on.
Right.
What do we know about specifically mRNA technology?
Yeah.
That I don't think a lot of people know what mRNA is, let alone the ability for it to be modified and used for vaccination, which I think a lot of them have been taken off the shelves or no longer being used.
right, there's some shifts. I think a lot of people don't want to know.
Specifically with regards to vaccination, or just what's in their stuff?
I think in general, right? Like it is easier in some way. Like I just said, oh my God, I spend so much time at the grocery store now because I'm reading, like, why are there modified milk ingredients in this cheese or whatever, right? And it's a big change to actually be critically thinking and make those decisions. And, yeah, I think it's easier to carry on as we always have. But
Oh, definitely. Well, and I think there's such a cultural divide now between people who are invested in that sort of thing and want to, like us. I upturned our lives a number of years ago just to be able to do this. Like, I intentionally want to live in the woods, know where my food comes from. I would much
Yeah.
rather stay in our tiny little community here and share food and share ideals. Like, it's safer.
True community.
Yeah, exactly. And I find that you're better off with regards to your food. Like, I don't have to read the label on the beef that comes from the farmer down the road, because if
Yeah.
he sells me bad beef, I'm gonna be like, hey, Adam, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Whereas if you go to the grocery store,
And how do you know it's bad? Because you feel bad.
yeah, or it stinks, or it tastes
Yeah.
bad, or whatever. Whereas if you go to the grocery store and you buy meat and then it stinks or it's bad, you could take it back, you return it.
Yeah.
But you go to the cashier or you go to the customer service, they're like, okay, do you want a free one?
Yeah.
Like the same shit you just bought.
Yeah.
So it's a frustrating sort of cultural shift and a shift. And I recognize that not everybody has the luxury to be able to do that. And there are people out there, like I talked about this week or made a post about how farmers markets are being taken advantage of, where people are buying from the same distributors and then just marking it up. Have you ever been to a farmer's market? Have you been to a farmer's market and seen like wrapped cucumbers?
No.
That blows my mind. And that's a big thing. A lot of people, you post online about farmers markets, and people are like, well, farmers markets are just the same stuff, more expensive for no reason. And some places are, because people will go and take advantage just buying the same stuff from the same distributors the grocery stores do, and then mark it up because it's bougie and you're there on a Saturday and it's all cute.
Gosh.
But here, luckily here,
that grosses me out. Like, I'm so, like, who?
Yep. But luckily, where we're at in our farmers market, like I know them, most of the farmers there.
Our farmers market is amazing.
Yeah, and so you get high quality vegetables, but even and everything at our market is amazing from the people that are there, and
The
yeah,
whole
they're
experience and
so I think we need more of those genuine farmers markets where, okay, you are meeting the farmer, or usually the farmer's son or daughter that's running the table, to be able to, okay, we're going to buy tomatoes. We're going to buy, and from the Amish here, grow amazing fruits and vegetables.
I actually haven't been to their market, but
Really?
I know what's wrong with me. The chatter around it, like people are obsessed. It's amazing. Yeah.
It was so, last year when they opened, it was so cool to see like the buzz around it. But there was no, because I don't want to be filmed or videos or photos taken.
Fair
Yeah, exactly. But there was enough like cultural hum that people were so invested. And I hope that they're doing well there. I mean, they had enough money to be able to build it and currently staff it still.
So much integrity, right? And like you feel that, like I feel like you taste it in the produce, right? Like it all.
Well, and sometimes you quite literally do when you're. We just bought strawberries from the grocery store because it was a little expensive to buy locally, but they're from Nova Scotia. But we bought three boxes,
local.
3 cases, I guess, of strawberries, and they were all just labeled strawberries. But there was very distinctly 2 different cultivars. There was 2 different types of strawberries. One was sweeter, and one was a little more sour. And as I was cutting them up, because we process them and we freeze a bunch of strawberries this time of year, and you could tell like the size was different, the color was different, and you just look side by side, you're like, these are 2 different types of strawberry. Whereas you go to the grocery store and you don't really know that, or if you don't do your research, or you're not in tune with your food, then you don't know those things. Some people don't care, but for me, I would love to have one of those Amish stands locally, everywhere. Every small community should have one of those, and a farm that everybody partakes in.
Yeah.
I don't think any man should be an island. I think we need to go back to time where we have your butcher, your baker, your candlestick maker, where people are invested in their communities and care about where their food comes from and where their products come from.
And supporting each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got off on a tangent.
That's all right.
That's something I'm extremely passionate about, because there's so much. The distribution of our food, there's been a number of farmers that I've talked to. It's just, you go to the grocery store and our food doesn't taste good.
I was just going to say, you buy strawberries out of season, they just taste like, almost like water. Like it's just a crunchy nothing. I can tell my brain I'm eating a strawberry, but if I close my eyes, I would have no idea. There's no flavor. Yeah.
Well, and they're not grown to taste good. I had this conversation with Tim at Strawberry Hill last year when I interviewed him, and they're grown to be able to ship. Some of those, specifically strawberries, are gassed along the way to be able to ripen them, which is a natural gas that the strawberries will produce and ripen each other. Same thing that apples do as they rot. That's why one bad apple can ruin the bunch, because they off-put gas and then will ruin all the other as they're rotting. But those are grown not to taste good, but to last, so that they can be shipped, especially things you're getting your citrus from California or from Florida. Like all of those things are being shipped from elsewhere. Even I went to the store the other day, saw garlic from China.
Yeah.
Not that it's a bad thing.
I saw that too.
But we have an amazing, actually it's right near a superstore. We have a garlic farm here. Massive garlic farm. And it's sad that we can't take advantage. I mean, you can personally, I guess, but to be able to, as those large chains, we should be stocking local produce. We should be being more intentional. And again, that goes back to, I guess, what our farmers markets are for, is being able to do that.
And I think like Sobeys locally they will partner with people. Like there is, I don't know what garlic farm you were talking about, but I think Connors is stocked at Sobeys, if I'm not
Really?
mistaken.
I don't do the grocery
quote.
shopping anymore.
Yeah, I don't know if it's every Sobeys or if it's just, Dave at our Sobeys that's really open to that and loves to support local. And, if that can work, then yeah. But, yeah,
If
it's
I can
shocking.
get an interview with them, I'd love to talk to somebody who works in manages a grocery store to be able to discuss that. Because I think it's important to understand that side of it. Because there's a whole business aspect of it and franchise aspect that it's kind of difficult to be able to discuss and talk about because the owners aren't here and it's a franchise and it's a whole thing.
Yeah. And necessary too, right? I mean, I go to the grocery store, but I get excited this time of year because I can go to the farmer's market and I'm like, okay, which veggies are going to be stocked right now? And I do have a farmer that I work with to get, local beef and pork. And it's like, we know the butchers and we're so fortunate to live in an area where we can take advantage of that. Yeah. And if someone isn't taking advantage of that, that blows my mind. Like, why wouldn't you? Because you haven't done it yet? Like, let me take you on a tour. It will change your life, But I also love food, and I guess not everyone is as passionate about food and cooking and eating as I am. So it means a lot to me to be able to access it.
It blows my mind that people aren't obsessed with food more. Like I'm kind of a foodie. We're building I don't know if you saw it there, we're building an outdoor kitchen so that I can have a nice place to cook and even butcher our animals, like to be able just to do that on the stainless steel tables outside of our house is really special. But yeah, it's surprising me that you have to eat 3 times a day-ish, I guess. Some people don't, but 3 times a day, you're always hungry. But there are some people who will say, oh, I wish I could just take a drink or a smoothie and just never be hungry. And I'm like, food is delicious. Yes. Like, it is an experience.
Absolutely.
And even I've been to some 4 or 5 star restaurants that I can say that we have had better meat and better meals here at home than some of those restaurants that I've been to. Not that they were bad, but we are choosing high quality. We're picking it right before 5 minutes before we are cutting green onions onto our salad, or we are cutting the lettuce for that salad. I
think that it speaks to your connection though with nature, with the earth, you know what I mean? And it's I don't believe that we're really separate from that, you know what I mean? There's so much reflection in our bodies and, with the earth and whatever. So yeah, I guess some people it comes back to the spirituality aspect of it all too, right? There is something spiritual about growing your own food, creating your own meals. People say, what's the secret ingredient? It's love. It's that's the energy that you're putting into it and the care, and crafting a meal for somebody. How good do you feel when someone cooks for you? You're like, man, this is better than anything that I could have ever made, right? For me, there's something so special about being able to connect with who I got this from. I know where this came from, and now I'm going to create this. And it is creation for me. I love cooking, I love plating and sitting down, and people pray before a meal, and it's just that honoring of oh, I'm so grateful that I have this meal. And if you can take it a step further and say and I know where it came from, I met that cow or whatever, and yes, it's a sacrifice for them to, give their life so that we can continue to fuel our bodies and use food and water as medicine, preventative medicine, as opposed to people are stressed and sick and going to the doctor. And I never go to the doctor, but I should knock on wood. But
when people are so isolated now, and it's something that over the last few years we're hopefully getting to that point now that Ezra's getting a little older. But I would love to have a harvest feast in the fall where we've got enough food and we either butcher something directly here on the farm or bring something in to be able to have 5-10, not too many people, but to have 5-10 friends or family over to be able to, okay, let's feast on this, the abundance and the bounty that we've been blessed with. It's
and eat outside and
on just that beautiful, like you said, the spiritual aspect of it, of okay, we were grounding in the garden all summer long, dealing with this food, toiling over it, literal blood, sweat, and tears and now here it is in front of us to be able to nourish our bodies. That's a huge spiritual and just physiological experience on so many different levels. I think,
and we want to share it with you.
Yeah.
Right? Your chosen people. It's just that coming together over a meal. There's nothing like it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hope you guys get to do that. That sounds so good.
Yeah, we wanted to last year for the end of the show. we were hoping that would like be the last episode,
yeah.
this big, like, here's everybody that was a part of
Yeah.
it, and it just didn't work out.
No
with
utensils, just full.
Well, oh man, I got invited last year and I couldn't go to a pig roast. Like they put a whole pig on a spit and roast it over coals for
Yeah, I
like
haven't done
48
that.
hours. It would be so cool. And so that's just been something that I've been dreaming of, is being able to have everybody over, and whether it is just for the meal or for, that's actually why I got this studio originally, was going to be an Airbnb for people if they want to come over and just stay and hang out and work in the garden or just be here. Because I think,
Yeah.
as you noticed outside, like it's just so nice and
Yeah.
quiet. And
Yeah, the water's what gets me. Like I'm just such a, I always say I'm a water baby, but it's just, there's something so peaceful being next to it, listening to it, being able to touch it, whatever it is. It's amazing that you have that right there on your property.
It was so loud when I first moved here, which is funny because I moved from the city and I thought that Fredericton was loud, all the cars and everything. And then I moved here and I'd have my windows open at night and I'm like, what is that roaring? And it was just the rapids of the river constantly going, and you get used to it after a while.
Natural white noise?
Yeah,
What?
Exactly.
I'm not used to this. My nervous system can't handle it. Like,
Well, and for years I was just so used to being overstimulated in the city, and it just...
it takes time to come down off of that, to actually be able to relax, and for your nervous system to recognize that you're safe without it. Yeah. But this is where we need to be more like in nature, finding those places of peace and being able to relax. Like the amount of people that say, they tell me they don't know how to relax. I'm like, yeah, because it's now a learned behavior. We have to actively put in the time, the effort, like the recognition to relax, to shut our brains off, and to just feel safe in our environment. Yeah.
What are the top 3 things you recommend people do then to relax?
I always ask if they have something that makes them feel more relaxed, because, some people like to hug a tree, lay on the lawn. Me, I like the water. But certainly nature does it every time. If you can, stand barefoot, close your eyes, listen to, the birds chirping, feel the breeze on your skin, take an actual deep breath, that diaphragmatic breathing. So many people are up here. It's apical breathing, just in the top of their chest. And there's so much power in the breath. Even on the table, sometimes I can tell there's just stress, whether it's in their mind or in their body. And I'll say, take a deep breath. And they will. And inevitably, the muscle that I'm working on goes and releases. So yeah, deep breathing is definitely a good one. Really depends on the person, I guess. Like meditation works really well for me. I'll even do like a micro break or a micro meditation, usually halfway through my day every day. I'm in my room. I set my alarm for 5 minutes and I just close my eyes and breathe. And, if there are thoughts rolling through my head, that's okay. You just let them. You don't have to worry about anything or stress about it. Just allowing them to roll through, coming back to the breath is so powerful. And then, of course, massages, like that helps to relax, right? And then back to the essential oils. If there is a scent that really connects, that you really connect with, then sometimes just taking a deep breath of that peppermint, the lavender, whatever it is. I guess we're back to the breath, but that's like enhanced breath. Can just help you go, drop the shoulders down, give your body a little shake, remind it that it's safe. Yeah.
I found so much that it's about being intentional and mindful. Like we've said, I think a couple of times, that being mindful of taking that time or doing something or not doing something intentionally with, okay, there were years where I just went through the motions and just kind of did the same thing every single day, and then it would just repeat.
Autopilot.
Yeah, that's probably why I can't remember periods of time, because it was just the exact same thing every single day.
Yeah.
Without change. You eat the same meal, you commute the same commute, and it's being able to stop and like, okay, instead of spending my lunch break in the break room, I'm just going to drive somewhere and go for a walk, or I'm just going to go for a walk if you're in the city. And yeah, it was so nice for me to be able to change that mindset, because so many people, you see your half-hour lunch or 1 hour lunch is like, oh, I gotta sit in the break room, or I gotta go quick get
and
lunch.
they're on their phone, right? And they're scrolling and they're looking at who knows what, and that's not healthy for us either. Yeah, taking those micro breaks and not looking at your phone is huge. Yeah.
It's something I'm trying to get better at as well. because
Yeah.
I
Well,
live on my phone.
You've got and I get it, you know, there's like if you're a digital creator and you're going to be on your phone or screen time often, but yeah, we really do need to step back and just having the awareness, like you said, I'm trying to get better. It's like, yeah, well, at least you're aware of it, because that really is the first step to making any change.
For years, it was my creative outlet. Like I loved photography and videos. I mean, we're literally doing this right now.
Yeah, look at
but
us.
now making something physical. I recently got a laser engraver. I've been making signs for friends. I meant to make you one. For the,
I will accept one.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out. I'll show you the one I just made last night, but it's just having that artistic outlet of something that you can feel tangibly, like printing out prints from your photography, even if they're not like as good as you think they're, but being able to print those out, being able to make something physical
Doing something
that you
with your
have,
hands.
rather than having something like these videos and the show. Like I'm very proud of what we've been able to create the last few years, but if I close my laptop or I shut everything down, it doesn't exist. It's just ones and zeros. And so being able to like make something tangible that like I could set it on fire, I could get rid of it, I could lose it for 10 years and then come back to it.
Yeah.
That's how I felt when I first made the farm sign, because it's rustic, it's embossed on a piece of wood, and it's like, oh, this could be something that my grandkids find in 20 years time. And whatever, 20 years is a little early for grandkids. Wow. But it could be something that like, oh, this was the first iteration of the farm sign, or this was like this, rather than finding a hard drive with some old videos isn't as exciting, I would feel personally anyway.
Well, it's really taking what's inside of you and sharing it on the outside in a way that everybody can, you know, touch, see, feel. Yeah. Right? Like that is amazing. Yeah.
Thank you for watching, and if you like this episode, please consider subscribing and letting us know your comments on what you thought of this episode.